We're talking about Norway. Sorry I missed yesterday. Was at the car dealership getting a recall done, and it took longer than I expected, so I didn't have time. But you know the vibes. Let's do this. Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally, and today we are looking at day 2 of the court hearing about the Jehovah's Witnesses suing the government of Norway for their deregistering them. Anyway, with all that being said, let's see what arguments that the Norwegian government brought to the table in their opening statements. Now, in the last video, we talked about how Watchtower didn't want any of their material shown, none of their instruction manuals, no elders' books, no videos, and that's because they are well aware that there's some real stinkers hiding in that closet. The boogeyman will be out to get them, and boy howdy, the Norwegian law team delivered. Because they showed what is, in my opinion, one of the worst videos Watchtower has ever made. Now, I'll just give you a little bit of context. I think I've told this story before, but this was shown at a convention that was right around the time me and my wife were in the fading in the transition of leaving, and this is the first convention that I ever just walked up and left. We saw this video, and we looked at each other and we said, let's just go. Let's just get out of here. And we were kind of already in the process of like knowing we wanted to leave, but there was a lot of circumstances. As everyone knows, it's a complicated issue when you're leaving Jehovah's Witnesses. But this was the first time and the last time, or the first time that I left a convention and the last time I've ever been to a convention. And it is a shocking video, and it almost looks like a apostate video. You would think that someone like me would put this together in order to show the reality of growing up as a Jehovah's Witness and the pain of shunning. But no, Watchtower put this out. So a lot of you guys maybe have seen it, but strap in. I don't know why we say that, strap in. Buckle up, because it's a wild ride, and for the next 20 minutes, I'm going to probably go light a candle, because I'm going to be very annoyed for the next 20 minutes.
It feels so good to be with my family and friends. When I'm with the brothers and sisters in our congregation, it's the best place I could be. My children and I are so happy now. But it hasn't always been this way.
So this is the beginning of the video, and they're really trying to set up the juxtaposition of what it's like to be inside the congregation versus being outside the congregation. But in order to really establish this poor girl's whole history, they're going to go back in time. So let's see what got her into this precarious position of having to say, it's so wonderful to be with my family and my friends in the congregation. But it wasn't always this way.
My parents were missionaries when my mom got pregnant with me. Mom and Dad were very zealous, and people just assumed that I would follow in their footsteps. And for a while, I did. I was the model child who was always held up as an example. Sure, the attention boosted my self-confidence, but it also put me under enormous pressure.
Now, I'm going to do my very best not to use any profanities here in this video, so we might be inundated with some of Wally's weird 50s expressions that I enjoy so much. But Watchtower, you're really cruising for a bruising here, about to get hit with the legal knuckle sandwich. I don't understand how you can say, whoa, we don't baptize children. Oh, the people, they're of a legal age. They're generally, for the majority of people, they're 15 years old. They know what they're talking about. Here in this video, she literally calls herself the model child as she is getting baptized. The model child is getting baptized. She calls herself a child. You baptize children. Full stop. End of story. Heavens to Betsy if you go on any sort of PR media campaign again and say, oh, well, we don't do these things. Y'all are liars. And it really pisses me off. I'm glad I lit that candle because it has had zero effect on my temperament.
I was the model child who was always held up as an example. Sure, the attention boosted my self-confidence, but it also put me under enormous pressure. It was like everyone was watching me, and I couldn't make a mistake. In my mid-teens, I began to feel torn. I liked the truth, but I felt so confined. I didn't tell anyone how I felt. I just pretended everything was all right and went through the motions.
What a perfect way to describe the cattywampus nature of growing up as a Jehovah's Witness. You don't understand what this truth is. Oh, I liked the truth, but I felt torn. I had these feelings, but I didn't tell anyone. This is what it is to grow up as a Jehovah's Witness. You get baptized as a child, you've realized something is wrong, but you can't do anything about it because you will lose your entire social structure. You feel like everyone's watching you. You feel like everyone's judging you. This is what it means to be a Jehovah's Witness. I met up with an old friend that I haven't seen in, by golly, probably like 15 years. And we were just chit-chatting, and she was never baptized, but one of the things that she had mentioned about why she, didn't want to be baptized or never wanted to really integrate herself into that culture was just the judgment aspect. She felt like people were judging her all the time. This is one of the most true and accurate Watchtower videos ever made. And it's damning. This is why they're showing it in court, because Watchtower is like, oh, well, people, they have a free choice, and, they can change their religion if they want. Oh, it's really a choice that people make. No, it's not. They are baptized as children, and then when they have struggles and doubts later in their teenage years, they have no recourse. They have no way to be able to have freedom. They are slaves for Watchtower, for a decision they made, as Watchtower says, when they were a child.
I envied kids who didn't have to live under so many restrictions. And if they got the truth later in life, they got to experience the best of both worlds. I thought maybe things would improve after I graduated high school. But then at my new job, I met Eric. He truly understood me. He made me feel special. And I loved him. I loved him.
These are real. This isn't just a soliloquy that Watchtower's doing. This is real. When you grow up as a Jehovah's Witness, at least in my experience, you have conversations with your friends about what it would be like if you weren't a Jehovah's Witness. Get your mind around that. You think about, man, what would it be like if I wasn't a witness? And you dream about all of like the cool things you can do. But oh no, you have to go to meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Sundays and meet and field service on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays and Saturdays. It's watching this is like opening a time capsule for me. I don't know why I'm so triggered by it, but maybe it's because it was that like sort of last thing that was just like, I can't believe they're saying this. But it's interesting because we don't know anything about Eric here. Watchtower doesn't tell us. I mean, maybe Eric's a fine guy. Maybe Eric's a douchebag. Who really knows? But she, at the very least, she's experiencing what it's like to have a real relationship, which is something that people that have never been a Jehovah's Witness maybe don't quite understand, is having a real friendship, a real relationship, because everything is fake. Even with your family, even with your best friends, everything feels fake. And then when you have a relationship with someone on the outside that's genuine, you're like, whoa, there's a bigger world about people that care about me as a person rather than just what I'm doing for the organization. You go to a Jehovah's Witness party, you talk to people, you talk to your family, and everything's about, well, what are you doing for the organization? Oh, are you pioneering? Oh, how's your pioneering going? Oh, what's going on with making new territories? Oh, how's the accounts? It's just all about being a Jehovah's Witness. So when you experience something on the outside that's genuine and real, it's like experiencing life for the very first time. And the hard part about that is you might find someone that's a jerk that is going to take advantage of you and your innocence. And well, sometimes you might find someone that is genuinely nice, but wow, how accurate is this video?
In many ways, I felt free. For the first time in my life, I could just do what I wanted. It wasn't long before our relationship became intimate. I felt guilt at first, but after a while, it just seemed that this is what two people who love each other do. And I was willing to give up everything for him. Everything.
Sister, that is what two people who love each other do. The problem is that you were raised as a Jehovah's Witness, and you do not understand that it's not a 1 and a 0 situation. You do not have to give up everything for someone. It's not like your whole life revolves around this person. You have choices. You have a choice, and you can make choices about what is going to be best for you. It's not, well, I have to be with Eric or else everything is wrong. I'll give up everything just to be with Eric. Or I'll never see Eric again. No. You can have healthy boundaries and develop a relationship. It is possible. And this is something that I guess for any ex-Jehovah's Witnesses that are struggling with this, watching, just understand that you can take your time with things. You can let things develop naturally. You can set boundaries. That is within your control. It's not Eric or bust. It can be, well, Eric's pretty nice. I'll see where this goes. That is how you develop healthy relationships.
Looking back, my parents tried hard to do the right thing. To do things Jehovah's way. But because I didn't have a hatred for what's bad, I couldn't see anything wrong with my choices. This eventually led me to do things I later regretted. I ended up getting disfellowshipped.
Sonia Erickson has been disfellowshipped.
It crushed my whole family.
Okay, to continue the meeting, we may remember last month's service.
Later, my father explained to me that I couldn't remain in the home because I refused to change my lifestyle. He told me I was having a negative effect on my younger brother and sister. And I'm out of this house. I was determined to do what I wanted. When I left home that day, all I could think about was Eric. I didn't even care that my parents' hearts were breaking.
That scene of her in the Kingdom Hall with her parents looking at her and just being like, oh, what a yucky person you are now. I mean, 2 weeks ago, you were our daughter. Now, you are disfellowshipped. Ugh, can't even stand looking at you anymore. Ew, gross, yucky. And then the callousness, because you can hear it in the background of the guy saying, I can't remember exactly, but he's like, well, let's just, in other news, let's move right along with our meeting. So someone's life was just completely ruined in public around everyone that she's grown up with, everyone that she considers her friends and family, because that's what your congregation is. Your life is ruined, and then they're like, well, in other news, here's some new auxiliary pioneers that are coming out. It is disgusting how they can just ruin someone's life with the snap of a finger. Now, the other aspect of this is, yes, we do have here in the timeline that she has graduated, she has a job, that's how she met Eric, but she still lives at home. And the dad basically is saying, hey, you can't live here anymore. So if she hasn't moved out already, it's conceivable to think that that's because she's not in a position to move out. Like she maybe can't make it out there financially. And so they are throwing their daughter to the wolves. They don't know who Eric is. Have they met Eric? Is he a good guy? Is he a horrible, awful person? They don't know. But what do they tell her? You need to change your life, your habits because it's affecting your brother and sister, or you're out of here, bucko. And so she says, well, I guess I'm out of here. It is so sad. And this is someone that is an adult. And I have heard countless stories of people getting kicked out of their house when they're 15, 16 years old for something as simple as wanting to have a boyfriend. And instead of a loving parent that helps their child navigate the insanity that is trying to figure out how to be in a healthy relationship, you throw them out there. Imagine that. One of the most complicated aspects of life for anyone is dating, marriage, and relationships. It's so complicated. And a 18, 19-year-old, sorry to cut it to any 18 or 19-year-olds out there, but you guys are morons. You don't know what you're doing, and you're going to mess up. That is why you need a support system of people that can help you navigate these things. Because it's not easy, and you can have life-changing situations arise. You get with the wrong guy, you get pregnant, he takes off, bada bing, bada boom. You're a single mom when you're 18 years old. Congratulations. In this economy, it is not easy. But the saddest part of this is that Watchtower is portraying the actions of the parents as the ones that are doing the right thing. You are the adult. You are the one that should be helping these people. And yet you just kick her out and throw her to the dogs? I don't like this video. I don't know if that's clear yet.
I didn't think about the devastation and disappointment that I had caused them. I blamed my parents for my situation. I even blamed Jehovah. My family missed me so much, even after all I had done. What helped them to remain loyal to Jehovah for the many years I was disfellowshipped? It was the Bible account of Aaron. Jehovah directly judged 2 of Aaron's sons and put them to death. In this case, Jehovah asked Aaron and his family not to mourn, in order to show the entire nation that they supported Jehovah's judgment. Mom and Dad saw that they needed to be loyal, just like Aaron.
I'm about to have a cow home skillet. Remember the context of this. This is being shown in a court case where Watchtower in day one comes out and tries to make the case that normal family relations just continue. And yet you have these goobers showing a video where the parents of a disfellowshipped person are meant to imitate Aaron. What did Aaron have to deal with? Well, God judged his 2 sons and killed them, and they weren't allowed to show any emotion. Yes, that is the example that Jehovah's Witnesses have. If your kids are disfellowshipped, we don't want you showing any emotion. Be heartless. It's in their frackin' doctrine. It's in their material. Don't even show emotion. And yet you want to say, you can boldly claim and beat your chest. Oh, these are just angry apostates making these outlandish claims. We don't really shun people. It's a free choice. It's up to the person. No, it isn't. You bunch of bozos. You tell people to go so far as to not even show emotion when someone is disfellowshipped. If you think that a normal family relationship is emotionless, you are fundamentally sick.
Jehovah directly judged 2 of Aaron's sons and put them to death. In this case, Jehovah asked Aaron and his family not to mourn, in order to show the entire nation that they supported Jehovah's judgment. Mom and Dad saw that they needed to be loyal, just like Aaron. They loved me and wanted me to come back to Jehovah. I tried to contact them. I just wanted to talk and to hear their voice. I missed being with my family. And they thought about reaching out to me. But they knew that if they had associated with me, even a little, just to check on me, that small dose of association might have satisfied me. It could have made me think that there was no need to return to Jehovah.
The Jehovah's Witnesses, and I don't think that I have to say allegedly in this particular instance, the Jehovah's Witnesses are lying to the Norwegian government. In a letter that was dated February 17th, there was an excerpt that said this, and this is a signed document that was sent to the government from the Scandinavian branch, and it said, on the other hand, a person who voluntarily chooses to relinquish his or her spiritual status as one of Jehovah's Witnesses by formally resigning will be respected for his or her decision, and it is up to each individual associated with the congregation to use his or her personal religious conscience to decide whether to limit or completely avoid having contact with that person. The Jehovah's Witnesses are being trained to cast their children out of the house, throw them to the dogs, and have no emotion. If they call, don't answer the phone, and they make it out to be a good thing. The whole situation, the whole picture they're painting is that this is a good thing because, I mean, as she's narrating, oh my goodness, if they would have answered the phone, that would have given me just enough contact. I might not have ever come back to the congregation. It is manipulation. I won't go and read the entire article, but remember before, I guess I'll just put it on screen now. They had this article from the June 2013 Awake about how to end the silent treatment and why it happens. They say straight away, it's retaliation. Some spouses use silence as a form of revenge, and then manipulation. Some use the silent treatment as a means to get what they want. And then here they even say, but when it is used as a means to retaliate or manipulate, the silent treatment not only prolongs conflict, but also erodes the respect the couple have for each other. How can you prevent that from happening to you? I have the answer. Never get baptized as a Jehovah's Witness. That is the way you will never have that happen to you. Because Watchtower knows that this is a form of vindictive, sadistic punishment that quite literally kills people. And yet they insist on it. And yet whenever they're called to task on it, whenever someone says, hey, do you guys shun people? What do they say? Shun people? We don't have any shunning practices. It is absolutely disgusting. This is a disgusting, harmful organization. And I am just so happy that in day 2 of the trial, the court was presented with this video, because I don't know how you watch this and come away with thinking, oh yeah, clearly Jehovah's Witnesses, they're not told to shun people. Normal family relations. Yeah, everything sounds good to me. Let's get back that registry. You would have to have an astounding amount of brain rot in order to think that this organization is good for the community.
I was disfellowshipped for more than 15 years. I had 2 children now, and as time went by, I thought about their future. I thought more and more about returning to Jehovah and the congregation, but I didn't feel worthy.
Psalm 86.
One day, 2 elders stopped by and kindly reminded me that Jehovah wants me to return to him. They showed me Psalm 86, verse 5, where it says that Jehovah is ready to forgive. I thought about that verse the rest of the day. Jehovah is ready to forgive. So I decided to go to the Kingdom Hall for the first time in many years.
Feeling of remorse is healthy. It can move us to take positive steps to correct our mistakes.
It made me realize just how far off track I had gotten. I was determined to qualify for reinstatement. Nearly a year later, my reinstatement was announced to the congregation.
Sonia Erickson is reinstated as one of Jehovah's Witnesses.
I was so happy. The brothers and sisters welcomed me very warmly. Being back together again with my family and Jehovah made me feel so good. I knew this is where I needed to be, and I didn't ever want to leave again.
And there you have it. The manipulation is complete. It only took 15 years of pretending like your daughter was dead, like she didn't exist, for her to finally come around and see the error of her ways. It couldn't be manipulation. This is absolutely disgusting, but I'm glad that Watchtower produced it, and I'm glad that it is still available for other... I'm talking into a cat's butt. It's really disorienting. But I'm glad that Watchtower actually showed a realistic depiction of what it's like to not only grow up, but to be disfellowshipped when you're a Jehovah's Witness. And it is one of the most inhumane, insensitive things that they could possibly have produced. But the fun's not quite over. We got a little bit more to cover here because they did show a little bit more in the day 2.
I have a question.
What is it, my dear?
How do you get baptized?
That's a good question.
And an important one.
Mom looks so young in this picture.
Hey!
Yes, you can be young, like your mother. What matters is that you love Jehovah and want to follow Jesus' teachings closely.
You can show that you want to get baptized by what you do, like obeying your parents.
Learn about Jehovah by reading the Bible. That will help you obey Jehovah and avoid things that Jehovah hates.
Now, we won't do a long breakdown of this one because I already made a whole video about this bad boy here. But it is interesting, though, that even Jehovah's Witnesses here in the last couple years, oh, yeah, we baptize them young. Wow, Mom looks so young. Oh, well, you know, you can be young. You just have to listen to us and read the Bible. Like any 8-year-old is going to have any rational comprehension of what's really going on in the Bible. It's absolutely ridiculous to even suggest such things. But anyway, day 2 of the Norway trial was filled with just, hey, here's what they actually say. I know they're saying this one thing, but it was a spotlight on the duality of Watchtower, how they'll say one thing to their members and then say another thing to the public. And I think they did a brilliant job of really highlighting how you can't do this. Sorry, Watchtower, we're not going to allow you to speak out of both sides of your mouth. We're not going to allow you to hoodwink the court here and say, oh, well, we don't do this or we don't have these practices, while they clearly do. So huge dubski. And yeah, that's about it for today. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. If you're still around, don't forget to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, helps it get out to more people on YouTube. With that being said, stay safe, be kind, show yourself the same kindness that you show to others, and you better have a good ass day.